Hi, it's Ricky of Moshville Times here once again. Now, once again, I'm delighted to be joined by Scottish old school death metal band Penny Coffin. As I've already said off air, I'm fed up talking to them because I seem to bump into them every week. But tonight we've got guitarist vocalist Joe, we've got guitarist vocalist Daniel, and we have drummer Luke. Gary, the bassist, is unfortunately too camera shy, but that means that we can just talk about his behind his back anyway and take the mickey out of him. So, how the devil are you guys? I think it's been like 6 days since I saw you, Joe.
It's probably even less than that. It was Friday
Less than
night,
that,
wasn't
actually.
it?
Aye. How are you guys doing? How are you, Daniel? How you look? How you doing on?
Yeah, I'm good. Yourself?
Yeah, just ready to do another one of these interviews. We've got a festival coming up in October, which we'll talk about, and we'll talk about all things Penny Coffin. And if you're nice to me, look, I might bring up desecrated extinction. Don't know.
Oof.
We'll see. We'll see.
That'll be an interesting topic, that one.
It'll be a short one. It'll just be the one question. It'll be a sub question.
Okay.
But yeah, but first of all, I have to talk to you about Deicide. That must have been something that was on everyone's bucket list. So, how was the experience for you all? I'll start off with yourself. Look, how was it for you just watching Steve Asheim doing his shit?
Yeah. I think the moment we got the message, I was like, oh shit, this is like, Deicide. And I was like absolutely crapping myself for the show. I almost forgot everything. I almost forgot my triggers. I almost forgot all my cables. But yeah, like apart from, like before we got on, there was like so many people there as well. It's definitely the most packed gig I've ever played. So like, even like Deicide aside, like the show itself was amazing. And then obviously we got to sit next, on the stage and watch Deicide do what they do, and it was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. What about yourself, Daniel? How was the experience for you?
Yeah, man, it was good. Yeah, I've listened to Deicide forever, man. So they're like my favourite death metal band. They were kind of like the band that got me into death metal.
Is Legion your favourite Deicide album, though?
Nah, it's not actually. I like Serpents of the Light quite a lot.
Do you? That's hugely controversial. If you were to ask like 100 death metal fans the best Deicide album, they'll probably say Deicide or Once Upon the Cross. But everybody's got their own opinion, so fair play. Did you?
I don't think it's not a bad album,
Yeah, absolutely. But see, when you're on the side of the stage, and obviously these guys are vastly more experienced than you guys, did you take anything away from it? Did you learn anything from it? Did you learn anything from the way that they set up, the way that they just, I don't know, got themselves ready or whatever like that? Was there anything that you learned from that gig that you'll take going forward?
Yeah, probably, man. Subconsciously, just kind of watching people that are that professional.
Yeah.
I don't think you can help but pick things up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're legends, man. They've been doing it for so long. It's another day in the office for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Their stage volume's really controlled. That was the thing that I kind of noticed. It's like usually when you go see bands, I'm not saying everyone wants to turn up, but theirs was really controlled. You can tell that they've been working with studio engineers and sound engineers live for years. That they know exactly what they're doing. There's no messing about. They know exactly what they're doing, working with their own sound guy.
Yeah.
That was literally what I was going to say. That was the big thing for me, was like it was really quiet on stage. So obviously, I don't know, like with us, everyone's like, we're so loud, and everyone's like, so it was like, not weird, but it was like to see like one of the OG death metal bands with like a stage volume that quiet was like, it makes sense, but like,
Yeah. Well, listen, it was an absolutely brilliant gig by both bands. So it'll certainly be one to remember, and certainly something that's off your bucket list. But look, I know you'll have a big bucket list, and hopefully that's just the start. But we'll see what happens for you guys. But Conscripted Morality has been out for almost 6 months now. So how's it been with the reviews you've been getting? How far has your music reached? And maybe even like playing live as well to your first couple of EPs, which I'm not even going to attempt to try and name. But how have things been with Conscripted Morality? Do you think that's a massive step up for the band?
I think so. I think it seemed to go further than the last one. Maybe that's partly down to having more contacts and more people you've always got a previous relationship with to look to try and get reviews. And I think when people are looking to listen to a band, or even me as a fan, if you see that name more and more often pop up in different review places or different websites that you go on, you're more likely to listen to it. So it's just like almost like a bombardment. If you keep saying the name Penny Coffin enough, eventually you're going to listen to it. But I think just in general, looking at kind of Bandcamp and Spotify stats, it's definitely went to a different kind of level.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing what you can do nowadays. Like if you go into Bandcamp, you can look at the analysis of it all and at the analytics of it all, and you can see like you've got fans in Puerto Rico or something like that, or Thailand or something like that. Have you reached obscure countries like that?
I've been Australia, Japan, Singapore, but the ones if you've got to post stuff to Australia, it's so expensive, and I don't think I charge enough.
It's definitely.
So maybe I've been found out there a couple of times, but it's great that people are finding your music in different continents. It's like we didn't expect that for a second, so it's great.
Did you expect that much of a positive reaction, Daniel? Have you been taken aback that there's so many people that to be honest, I can't remember seeing like a bad review for it or a very critical review. I think there was one guy where you put it in the chat group, Joe, where he spent like half an hour trying to open the packet, and when he opened the packet, he went Penny Coffin CD, and he just put it to the side. You put that in the group, like an American dude or something like that. But like you must have been taken aback, Daniel, by all the positive responses.
Yeah, I don't expect anybody to like it, so people like it, that's good.
He's a man of few words, isn't he?
One person likes it, that's good enough for me, man.
I remember there was one review though that I don't know what had happened. They put down our names as some sort of band from Sweden. So it's like I was Sebastian Eim. I don't know how this worked. I don't know how this worked out. They listed all our names as like a totally different band, and the review itself wasn't even very good either. It's one review I remember seeing it. It's like they must have listened to it on a phone speaker. It's like all you can hear is guitar chugs and double bass. You're like, it's death metal. That's all you're meant to hear.
It's true.
Exactly. But also now, I think you've existed for what, 3-4 years now, but you've only really had the one lineup change, and that is now with Luke coming in on drums. So has he brought fresh impetus to the band? Has he brought like a kick up the backside kind of attitude? Right, let's get to the next level. Let's keep progressing. How did you find him?
We've seen his band before. We played with Desiccated Extinction before in Inverness, so we knew. In fact, Luke played drums for every band after that as well, except us.
Oh yeah, I told him for Claudius too. Yeah, I forgot that.
So how did you come to join Penny Coffin then? Did you hear that they were looking for a drummer? Did they approach you, or were you always a fan to begin with and you always said, look, give us a shout if you need or what?
Well, it was actually Panos messaged me. I don't know what the guys spoke about, but Panos just messaged me basically saying about his situation and how, you know, they were looking for a drummer and like they thought I would be like a good suit for the band. And I was just, I was literally like sat there about to go to the orthodontist and I got the message and I was like, I'm in so many bands right now, but I really, really want to do this. So yeah, I mailed them back like about 5 minutes later. I was like, yes, I will absolutely do it because, you know, the music's great. They have great gigs. They have a good solid following. And I was like, it would be absolutely stupid for me to turn it down.
Yeah. He's saying a lot of compliments there, guys, but I hope you still made him audition twice.
Yeah. I think the audition lasted about 30 seconds, I think. It's just as soon as you could see him play the stuff, you're like, that's it.
Because I'll admit, I think I said it to you, Daniel, at the Deicide gig. I said, look, what a fucking drummer. It just seemed like seamless to you. So, and I think you're incredibly young as well, aren't you? You're like...
I'm 22, yeah.
So you've still got the whole cycle to go yet, and to play the drums that you way, the way that you did at that gig was just absolutely brilliant, mate. So well played.
Thank you. I think it came quite naturally to me because I played in another band a long time ago called Section 9, and I've always said, like, if I wanted to do drum stuff, death metal was the thing I wanted to do, because blast beats are fun. I love doing blast beats. So, you know, it's really nice to like be playing death metal again, because I feel like for a really long time, just with drums, I was just playing it because I had to. Whereas now I'm like actually enjoying the instrument again, which is refreshing.
Yeah. No, cool. It sounds as if you can bring many things, because I also know that you're a guitarist as well. Because you do everything in the band Desecrated Extinction as well. And I also noticed that you were in Unhallowed Void as well, which I've played recently, because I think they've released new music as well. So for someone so young, you've certainly been about, and I don't mean that in being a tart or anything like that, but
he's the best guitar player in the band as well.
Well, that's. I was going to actually ask that, but I'll keep that for later. But I mean, if anything, if was that maybe like your first gig, Deicide?
No, we played the Glasgow show, like the release show. Was that it? Was there another one after that?
Did we not do Leeds and the?
And
Leeds
and Bolton.
The Bolton and Glasgow.
Yeah. So I did play like a few shows before Deicide.
Yeah. And that's a good thing with Penny Coffin is, like you say, they've got a strong following, so they'll get asked to be played in different areas probably that you've never played in before yet. So it's all new experience for you. So tip my hat to you, sir. But now you guys, you release music quite close together. So does this mean that after the 6 months that you're quite quick and prolific songwriters, that you've got new songs in the works?
Yeah, we've got a few.
Now, is a few as in a few 2 or 3, or a few 8 or 9?
About 7 or 8.
7 or 8.
We've got enough for an album, I would say. It's not got. We're going to have to work on it, but we've got enough strong songs here, I think, for an album.
So is that what you're saying? What's going to be happening next?
Because
I think you guys have done the EPs. You've done the EP route because you've released 3 so far. So I think the next step is for you guys to release an album. And you, like I say, you've been together for like a short period of time, but you're releasing music really quite quickly, and it's top quality shit. So why not spend an extra few months and record 3 or 4 more songs and release an album?
I kind of see it like you're almost doing like 2 EPs, because in my head you'll be working on the kind of vinyl length style that's already kind of built in with the EPs. So it's almost like working on just doing 2 EPs really. But you want to take it all to another level if you're going to do an album or want to do music again. You want it to have a better recording, but I think there's a better budget for it now, and so going down that EP route at the start has definitely worked out, because people are interested, and it's given us the opportunity now to think, like there's a real opportunity to go out there and make an album.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys of all people know how strong the old school death metal scene is in Scotland at the moment. I mean, I'm 50 in a few weeks. I know, don't look it. But I am, and I can't remember the Scottish scene ever being so strong. I remember back in the day you had Corpse, you had In Extremis from Stonehaven, you had Inversus from Edinburgh and Festa from Aberdeen and stuff like that, but Corpse were the only one that really got like an album deal. Now there's so many opportunities for the new school of old school death metal, so many opportunities, and hopefully you guys will fall into that. And I think if you do what Coffin Mulch have done, for example, and release an album, things can happen for you guys.
I think we've got to go down that road. You see that the kind of success of Coffin Mulch with their album, and Age of Summoning put their album out, and you're like, I think we're maybe approaching the time that we could maybe do something like that. I'm not saying it's going to be on any of those sorts of levels, but we'll just make the best music that we can make, and hope for the best, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got Luke, and I know that he likes his slam death metal with his solo project and stuff like that. But is he I know that you're not going to try and bring it into the Penny Coffin sound, but is Luke also bringing a hell of a lot of ideas? Is he coming in with riffs? Is he coming in with ideas for songs?
Well, we just started kind of working on new stuff. It was actually like on not Monday, but Monday past.
Yeah.
Sorry, not the Monday past, but the Monday before that we started to jam out some new stuff. That was only the first time that we actually jammed it. So there's work to be done. So I can imagine there'll be loads of ideas getting put forward.
Yeah.
Especially.
They'll definitely
Drummers have to put the ideas forward, you know.
That's it.
It just, you know.
You don't know how it kind of works sometimes until you're in a room playing it either. It can sound
Exactly.
good on a laptop with programmed drums, but until you actually go in and you're like, oh, that bit didn't actually turn out the way you kind of wanted it, or it might be certain riffs you're like in a room that like, oh, that is really good.
Yeah.
So you've got to be in the room first and kind of work on it like that. But
figuring out the
quite happy.
dynamics and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is Luke pissing you two guys off though by sending you riffs at 4 o'clock in the morning? Saying that this is the best fucking riff for Penny Coffin, by the way. When you hear this?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Gotta focus on writing drums. That's hard enough.
So how was COVID for you? Look, like, have you got like an electric drum kit? Were you able to practice in the house, or were you like using kitchen pots and pans and stuff like that?
Well, for a long part of it, I just had my guitar because I was staying somewhere else when the first lockdown hit. So I was just pumping out covers. I was doing lots of Rings of Saturn covers and like stuff like that. And then when I finally got home, all I did was practice drums because that was at the time with my other band, Section 9, where we were like, let's do an album. So I wrote like 12, 15 songs or something.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, nothing happened with it. But I had a pick pad and a Guitar Hero drum set, and that's what I practiced on.
Anything to keep yourself fit, you know.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
All you need.
I mean, I just picture Joe, like for example, playing air guitar for like 18 months.
That's all I need again. It's all in the mind.
But so you've got ideas for new material then. How would you say, what's the next progression level? You obviously had your 2 first EPs, which I will not mention because I'll embarrass myself. And then you had Conscripted Morality. What do you think you're going to jump to next? Like, who do you think the sound's going to change, differ, or stay the same? More refined?
More extreme, I would say. I think I've on purpose increased a lot of the kind of tempos you'd be writing riffs at. So I think there'll be that extremity there. But then again, we'll still want to have dynamics within the songs. You want to have, or I want to have, kind of like maybe a slower song here or there, or something maybe more mid-paced or groovy, or you want to still have atmosphere in the songs. You want to have a diverse range of songs in it. I think that's fair enough. Like I've thrown an album that's all blasts. I like that as well. But I think what Penny Coffin and what we've done with the EPs anyways have been diverse enough that maybe you won't like this song, but you might like the slower song or something towards the end. So it's just having maybe the kind of different strokes for different folks. But I think if we're doing an album, I think it will be mostly very extreme.
So what do you think's brought that on then? What's the reason for like a change in this, a small change in the sound? Do you think it's just because you're tighter as musicians, or you've progressed as musicians, or you just?
I think the first stuff that we wrote at the very start, which most or a lot of those songs are on the first 3 EPs or first 2 EPs, and we never really imagined getting a drummer like Panos to begin with, or Luke now. So I think we did plan to write as fast songs, or maybe as complicated, or any of these things that we've been able to do, finding Panos and then Luke that can play blast beats and play these sort of tempos. So you're kind of taking advantage of it and developing the sound with a full band rather than like a couple of guys like trying to get songs together.
Yeah.
So the kind of that whole idea has changed and developed as you've been in a band.
Yeah.
Somebody can play blast beats at like 230 beats per minute with double kick going like fast underneath it, then that's going to get done. Just because you can, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think Luke's got the capability of doing 250, 260. Who the hell knows? Who knows?
He's a bit of a push, maybe 250.
Well, he set the bar, guys. So write the songs after.
Oh, they already have.
Yeah, I did one on purpose because Luke said he could play at 250, so I wrote one at 250.
Cool. So yeah, like obviously the way that you recorded Conscripted Morality gave it that sound as well. So is that a formula that you're going to keep? Are you going to keep using the same recording process, or are you quite open to like trying new studios, new experiences, new producers, new mixers? What are you thinking for this album?
Well,
I think there's. I'll
you
let you go. I'll let you go. Let you go.
Nah, you go.
I think we were probably the stuff we done before. Obviously, there was no budget, and you're making the best use of the tools that we had available. I think in the future, I think there's the possibility that we could use studios or use a budget for better equipment.
Yeah,
and I think that's part of it. Like if we're doing like an album or more recordings, it's got to be. But I'm not adverse to using a lot of the same techniques that we kind of used before, because it definitely helped develop a sound. And I think every time we did it, we got better at it, and we came up with new ideas that we refined every time. So I don't want to totally abandon that and let someone else come in and pick it all apart. I'd rather still have the control over it,
yeah,
and that we can make the decisions rather than be paying some guy to mix and master everything, like to mix and master everything, or to reamp everything. But I think going forward, I will definitely try to use maybe studio drums or studio vocals or some things along those lines.
Like you were saying about Luke bringing things to the band, you know, he's pretty good at recording. He records all his own stuff for Hallowed and for Desiccated Extinction.
yeah.
So he's got plenty of tricks up his sleeve and things that we haven't even explored with him yet. So he's definitely going to be bringing some stuff to the recording process. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Like you say, you've got a bigger budget, so just have to see where it takes you. I mean, we would all love to get like Dan Swano to master it for you and all the rest of it. But you've got to live within your means. But it's interesting because there's bands that have a kind of similar budget, but they go to a studio and they get like the fifth member of the band type thing or the sixth member of the band type thing, because they actually tweak things, push you and all the rest of it. Whereas you guys kind of like to act a wee bit more independently, maybe.
Or push each other, you know.
Who's the moody one in the band? Who's the one that's never satisfied?
Everyone.
Everyone. I think you've got an idea in your head to begin with what the finished product should be, or close to it should be, and everyone kind of shares something similar. So it's like if you hear something and it's not quite there, it's not going to be a big deal. Especially the way we were doing it. There was no time constraint. There's no one telling you like this had to be done right this second. It's like everyone's got lives. You just relax and do it in your own time.
Yeah, yeah. So have any labels been knocking on the door after the release of Conscripted? Like, have you had any kind of interest? Or are you quite happy to just do things at your own pace, your own time? I mean, you look at Dog Tired, for example, one of Scotland's biggest exports at the moment, and they've been independent for 15, 20 years because they just like to do it their own way. But I don't know whether you love the backing of a label or what.
Take the money.
Take their money.
If they were going to come and offer some sort of massive recording budget, of course you'd do it. You'd sign your life away just to make you're like, oh fucking right, we'll just do this. But I don't think that happens to anybody. I think what happens now is use basically your own money.
Yeah.
And maybe if you're lucky, a bigger label will be interested enough to produce it like produce the actual product for you, and you'll be able to recoup that way. I'm not sure if anyone's getting advances on anything.
Yeah.
That's my limited knowledge of of what the music industry is. But I wouldn't assume there's any big recording budgets or art budgets or video budgets coming in the way of any death metal bands outside maybe the very top that you see.
Mainly just merch, getting printed, CDs, cassettes, and that getting printed for you. Like you say, like there's no like budget for recording or anything that I've heard of.
Yeah.
Maybe you get offered like some gigs or something, like decent gigs through a record label, like a tour. But if it's something like that did happen, that'd be pretty cool. But you never know. It's just one of them things. No point in putting all your eggs in one basket. You know what I mean?
That's exactly it. Exactly it. You still like to make your own decisions and things like that. So absolutely, absolutely. And I love how you've still got the old school aesthetics, the CDs and the cassettes, which I do. Do you know, I've still got my cassette in my. I bought a £25 cassette and CD player from Argos, so that means I can bring all my cassettes back out. And I'm playing bloody Penny Coffin and stuff like that. So I'm chopping up my onions and listening to Ballistic. And I'm going fucking. But anyway.
So that's where my tape player's in my kitchen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But yes, with the recording process that you went through with Conscripted, then, if you were to revisit it, would you change anything, or do you think you're going to change anything in the way that you recorded it going forward?
With hindsight, when you listen to it a million times back when you're recording it, you think you've done a pretty good job. But then maybe you hear it again in different speakers and you're like, oh, I wish I did this, wish there was more bass or this or that. But that's part of, like, you're never really going to truly be satisfied with it because you're always wanting to find ways to improve it. But I don't think that's necessarily bad. I wouldn't go back and really change anything because it's owned by that space and time and the people that done it and the equipment that was used. You can't replicate that again. So
yeah. It's the same with every EP release that you've had so far. You'd imagine that it's the perfect release at the perfect time with the perfect sound. But maybe 10 years down the line, when you've released a couple of albums and stuff, maybe you would like the opportunity to re-record them. Who the hell?
I think the last recording you could put up.
Your Max Cavalera.
Just re-record the stuff. I think the last recording, though, I think Constructed Normality, it sounds the best of all the ones we've done. I think you could put it up against most death metal stuff you would hear, and you wouldn't kick out of bed. Like, I think it's like you're not going to go, what the fuck is that? It sounds heavy and it sounds like death metal. And like you hear it on your show, it's not like you put it up against anything. You're not seeing a noticeable climb off in the sound quality or the production quality. I think it's for the way it was done. I think it's just about maybe as good as you were going to get.
Can I ask a very silly question though? How sick are you of playing Bootlicker? Which is my favourite one. I think it's actually my joint favourite Penny Coffin song, by the way.
What's the other favourite?
What was that?
What's the other favourite?
Ballistic.
Yeah, Bootlicker can go away, but I've had enough of it. But people seem to like it. That's the thing. So if people
it's
like
just
it,
the groove that it creates. Like, see, when you played it at Deicide, it was like everybody was fucking just headbanging. You know what I mean? So
it's our paranoid, you know.
Absolutely.
I think you can replicate the kind of idea of the kind of groove against the double bass, like carpet rolls, like Morbid Angel would do in better songs. I think it was one of the first songs that we wrote, and it has got that element that's like obviously very linked to Morbid Angel that people like, and it's got that headbanging kind of quality to it. But I think you can have other songs that are just better with those qualities again.
I think the best thing about that song is the lyrics.
I quite like the lyrics.
Is that because Daniel wrote them, Joe?
He finished them though.
He sent me lyrics and I used like quite a lot of what he did. I had like lyrics that I might be thinking about or being something else.
Yeah, I like the lyrics in that song. I can remember writing it, like writing down the stuff that I sent to Joe that he finished off, and it was just like, yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was a really bad day at work.
Well, do you know what? I was going to talk about the topic of lyrics later on, because we're running out of time in this section. But yeah, absolutely fair play to you. And one of the things that I love about Penny Coffin, especially in the live front, is the vocal delivery. Because I love a band with more than one vocalist. It just adds so much more to the song. And I think Joe hates Bootlicker because he does most of the singing on it. Because he's quite lazy, is he not, guys?
It's really easy. That's the easiest one to play and sing.
Yeah,
Like I don't have to think about
it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Right, thanks very much for that, guys. But with the band now fairly settled on the band members front, when constructing this new material that you're talking about with the album, then, and with band members having their own personal taste in music, how would you say that you keep it all together? For example, like when negotiating, like what stays in and what goes out of a song. I thought it was a good question as well. Thank you.
It was a hard one. I don't think there's. I think you just know. I think you try all the ideas, and I think it's obvious eventually what ones are the good ones. I don't think there's any such thing as we've got plenty of ideas. I wouldn't say are bad songs either. It's what you think would work and what people that you expect to listen to are going to like, and how would you as a fan react to, like, if you've only got 40 minutes, how experimental do you want to be, especially on like your first album? How does it flow side to side and start and finish? And that, I think those sorts of things are important when you think about what kind of songs you want and how you want to lay them out and structure them.
Yeah. Are you worried about making too much of a leap? That you might lose some of the fans that you had with your EP? You don't want to like change your sound too much, but at the same time, you do want to change your sound?
It's not going to be the Black Album. It's just going to be the slightly longer and slightly better version of what I already like. It's not going to be a major departure. There's not going to be any ballads.
No, I didn't think there would be. But that would be cool. But with you, Joe, and Daniel being the vocalists of the band, then do you two take care of all the lyrics for Penny Coffin, or would you welcome contributions for like Luke does his own? I don't know whether you want to bring in some porno grind to Penny Coffin.
There is no lyrics. There is no lyrics. It's all just noises.
Excuse me. No, it all made sense. I'll actually listen to. What was it? Was it Guts something? What was the second single that you released, Luke?
The Cavitated Clit.
Aye, well. So there's the ballad that you were obviously talking about a minute ago.
Yeah, that's the one.
But I mean, it's an art form writing lyrics, so I don't know whether, Luke, you would be welcome to like contribute to it, like whether you've got ideas as well after now that you've listened to riffs here, there, and everywhere, or is it?
I think with bands I've been in before, it's always just been a case of like the only input I would really have would be like, oh, maybe you could put this, maybe you could put that. I've never really solely been like, I can write lyrics for a song, but I'm like always happy to like, add in a little bit of input,
I'm happy with anybody. Like, I think sometimes if you're listening to stuff over and over, like try to get ideas or patterns or certain words will just kind of jump out to you. You try to force them in, or you maybe even got a stupid working title and you're like, no, I'm going to try and get that in. So if someone's got ideas, like I'm always all ears. Like usually, like Peyton will send me like lyrics and I'll use them to start my lyrics, or use them in stuff I've already got. So they'll like come together like to make something that's better.
Yeah. Yeah. So where do you get your lyrical inspiration from, Daniel? Like, do you, I don't know, watch a lot of war documentaries? Do you watch a lot of TV? Do you read a lot of books? Or as soon as you open your door, you've always got a pad and a pen on you, you see something on the street, you write it down and you work on it later on? How do you write your lyrics?
Yeah, just a bit of everything. some of the, I don't know, different things I've reinterpreted some kind of like situations. For instance, like the ballistic like lyrics and stuff like that. That's just me kind of like reinterpreting what it would be like to kind of be in a building that gets like shot by a missile. Because I was watching the news and I was seeing like a lot of like bombed out buildings from like the war in Ukraine, you know.
Yeah.
I was just like reading. I was just like watching that kind of stuff at the time.
Yeah.
And then that was like I think I just seen like a news reel of somebody talking about something like that happening. It just kind of happened out of the blue, you know.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like was thinking, well, it's pretty dark, you know. And just kind of wrote some bits and pieces down from that. Some different ideas. It always starts like a lot longer, you know.
Yeah.
Almost like a poem or something, and then you just kind of cut it down to what you can sing and play, really. Just so it's like a song structure.
So see, when you write your lyrics, then you've obviously got parts for you and you've got parts for Joe, and you are writing your lyrics in such a way that you see in your head how Joe is going to sing them. Is that sometimes difficult to convey how you want Joe to say, right, this is how I want you to do it? Or do you just give him a lyrics and he just nails it in the winner?
We've never really done that. He's probably suggested more things to me, like for vocals, like in Jaws or something. Doing the trade-off.
Yeah.
That was more his idea than my idea.
I'd like to do kind of more stuff like that, and like I've got plans to do more stuff like that. It's the difficult thing when is if you do demos with your own voice, try to do the two, the other person's going to sing it differently, and I think to get that right, you have to like almost demo it first and almost produce each other. Like if you're going to have to sing the same line at a certain point, like how are you singing that, and can I change the way I'm singing it to suit what you're doing, and vice versa.
Yeah.
If you're doing it separate, it can be quite hard. But that, again, that's like almost like pre-production that like proper bands would do, and that maybe we start doing.
It's like live as well. Like you could kind of do different things live than on the record. So like on Slow Dive, it's mostly Joe. Well, it's all Joe doing the singing on it, but live I'll come in on like certain parts. We just agreed like I'll sing them words and you do the rest.
Yeah.
It's got more impact, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So what about yourself, Luke? Have they asked if you want to sing? Like, are you going to be like Chris Reifert in the drums there?
Been there, done that, never doing that again.
You're never going to have a microphone just ready for you, no?
No, never. I cannot blast that fast and do vocals.
What about getting one of these things that you can just put just a wee microphone head there?
Brittany mic.
Exactly.
There's a very good band from down south called 357 Homicide, and they're just a two-piece slam band, and the guy actually, the drummer, does do that, and it sounds really, really good.
Well,
so I don't have any excuse, but I'd preferably not.
Unfortunately, the next time you meet these guys and you go into rehearsals, you're going to have to purchase one of these because now that I've said it, it's there.
We're going to get Gary to sing a song like Yellow Submarine or This Garden or something like that. He doesn't know this yet.
What about yourself, Joe? Like, where do you get your inspiration from writing lyrics?
I think maybe I do it kind of slightly different. I listen to the songs and I can hear the patterns, like the like syllable kind of patterns, or certain words pop out, and I'd kind of write round that, and I'd sit with the guitar and make sure that I can at least do something in the syllable patterns and play the guitar at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And if I can do that, then I kind of fit the ideal lyrics in those kind of spaces. And generally, what I've kind of tend to do is if I've got a stupid working title, I'll just use that as the springboard to kind of work in what other ideas I've got.
Yeah. It's interesting because I see what you're looking at. But I mean, I've interviewed like Carl Willits, and he waits for the songs to be written. So it's as if he does fuck all for a year, and then 2 weeks before he goes into the studio, he's like, shit, I better write something here. But then, as you know, Joe, we've got Quando from Brain Bath, and he's like, I've got 15 songs already written, lyrical wise,
Yeah.
you know. So it's just interesting to find out how vocalists actually work, and that's why I asked the question. So
You just steal stuff.
It's, essentially, yeah. I'll try and put people's band names and stuff like that in, like, or not maybe lyrics from other songs or stuff like that.
See, one of the lyrics in I think it's in Ballistic, and it's like, it says caustic streams and deep depressions. I got that off like watching a documentary where it was talking about like the glaciers like moving, and it's like how it cuts through the acidic like water was cutting through the valleys and making thingy. And so it's the guy narrating it was saying caustic streams create deep depressions in the valleys. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna take that.
it's just amazing how you do it, like, because it's definitely a talent in itself. I mean, everybody, well, I was going to say everybody can write a riff, but it's certainly a talent in itself, like writing words. But I hope either Daniel or Joe, you don't piss each other off because you've got like I don't know, a 10-word sentence, but you've only got 3 seconds to say it in because of the riff. You're like, yeah, bastard. But but yeah. But obviously, one of the main reasons for this interview is that you're going to be playing Moshville Oktoberfest on Saturday, October the 7th at Ivory Blacks in Glasgow for my 50th. Like I said, I don't look it, but yes, I am. So obviously, having seen you guys playing live and known you personally, I'm extremely looking forward to seeing you again. But now that the world has opened its doors to playing live again, I know 1 or 2 gigs that you've played recently, but do you have anything coming up in the near future apart from Oktoberfest?
Penny's gig, Dead of Winter in January. That's the only thing that's totally booked. There'll be something that's not announced yet down south for, I think it's around May. But right now, I think your gig, the Oktoberfest, will probably be the last of the year unless something crazy happens. I think most of the people are down to their last kind of holidays. I've got none left, and
yeah.
So I think January's going to come quick enough, and it'll give us time to work on other stuff.
Well, at least mine's on a Saturday, and can I just say there was another ticket sold tonight, so that's good. All looking good. So at least one person's going to be turning up.
That's good.
It's a start. It's a start. But I take it like it's far too early for like any new stuff. Like it's not like as if you're going to play one new song or anything like that. You're just going to play everything off conscripted and maybe off a song each of your first couple of EPs.
It'll be a similar set than we've been doing, but every time we're playing, you just get more comfortable and tighter. So I'm expecting it to be good for your gig, like.
Well, do you know what? I'm going to come back to the set list later on because it's a question that I like to ask towards the end of the interview. But I'm going to talk about the visual side of the EP for a second. Who done the artwork for you? And how easy or difficult was it for you to convey what you wanted the image to be? Was it like you gave them a song title, you gave them a whole album, gave them free reign, or was it this is what's in my head? What did you do for the album cover, EP cover?
I think
Daniel had seen it in I don't know where he was in a museum when he was on holiday. A war photographer called James Nachtwey or Natway. I don't know how to actually pronounce his name.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a series. He's like a war photographer. It was a series of pictures from, I think a lot of them were in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And there was this like one that he was showing me that like we both really liked. It was a woman in a full burqa, like mourning, I think, her brother.
Mm-hmm.
Over this kind of grave, and you could see they're all kind of freshly made graves, almost like in a desert kind of situation. Because she's in the burqa, it kind of looks almost ghostly. It's the kind of element that you kind of get from it. So it was like that was the one that we kind of thought that. So maybe try to get some art direction on this. The artist that did it's the same artist that did Chest Crush. I don't know the guy's real name. His Instagram name's Plague. but he's got this kind of really dark black and white style that we liked. So we just got in contact with him and showed him that picture, and with that kind of direction, and that's what we got back.
So see, when you got it back, was there a wee bit of to and froing, or were you like, no, that's nailed, that's it, that's the cover?
I thought it was cool.
Aye.
Yeah, we sent some ideas like at first, like that were like some light sketches that were done. My girlfriend did some, and they were at different angles, maybe.
Yeah.
Just so like he had like quite a lot of stuff to work with, plus the image itself and what it was about and all that kind of stuff, and what the songs were about. Yeah, and it was pretty straightforward. I mean, then he had artistic license to do whatever he wanted with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, who knows what you're going to do when the album's ready? Maybe you'll use the same person again. Who knows? You might have different ideas. But talking of the visual side of the album or the EP, I didn't really see a video to coincide with it. Is that something that you maybe want to do? When are you going to like release a couple of singles before you release the album? Are you going to do like a couple of videos before you release the album? What is it still too early to say?
Probably too early. I don't think we've ever gave a video a second thought, really. I think again, it's something you'd have to do yourself, and unless you know somebody or you've got the equipment yourself, it's going to be a harder thing to do.
Yeah,
I think with the kind of the style of the music, you don't really see a lot of underground death metal videos, but it's not something I'm against doing. But
I don't know. Maybe all you need to do is just go to a set of woods up where you are. Just put a couple of speakers up there and just do
get the invisible oranges out.
Absolutely.
I would do that, like, but it might look stupid as fuck, but I would do
it.
Well, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I've only got like, in fact, I've only got 2 questions left for you. Your set list. So on Oktoberfest and Sonic Dissonance, for example, that you just played in Oktoberfest as well, you've got a half-hour set, so you've got like 6-7 songs. What song are you particularly looking forward to playing? What's the song in the set list where you're like, it's 4th down, and I'm like, yeah, that's the one I want to play, I can't wait to play, and why you want to play it? So Joe, what's your favourite Penny Coffin song, and why is it always going to be in the set list?
Right now, I like Ballistic, and I like Predator as well. Just playing the kind of the 2 new ones that seem to be working the best. But Ballistic is like it's good because it's towards the end of the set. But just because of the way it kind of starts with the pace of it, and I think it goes down really well, and it's got the ending with the kind of breakdown ending that people seem to really like. And Predator again has got that kind of element that maybe Bootlicker has with the kind of groove element.
Yeah,
so you can kind of see people kind of that maybe don't like as much the speed element. They can kind of nod their head a little bit at that one in the background and fold their arms and stuff like it.
So would you say like Ballistic and Predator, if you're to say like where the sound is going to come from next, those 2 songs off the EP Conscripted Morality, that's what it would sound like more than others?
I think they seem to have went down the best. I think you're going to get songs in in that kind of vein. You're going to get variety though as well. They're not going to just rinse and repeat the 2 kind of same sort of songs, just have one kind of formula that we're going to do. I think that what's more interesting that is trying different tempos and feels, and especially over the course of like an album or even a set. When we've played longer sets, we play that song Skeletal Darkness, which in a longer set seems to work. I wouldn't entertain playing it in a half-hour set because you've given up 10 minutes up, but I think in a longer set it kind of works, and there's that breaking tempo. And it's got the kind of clean guitars and stuff like that. So that's just, even that in a longer set, that seems to work. And again, like if you're working on music, I think variety is the thing I like anyway.
Absolutely. And yes, I do love Ballistic. So if it sounds like that, then fair play. I'm happy with that. Look, what's
Ballistic as well.
Ballistic as well, yeah. So why is that then? Because you get a wee blast beat in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's got like my two favorite.
I thought you would
things.
like bootlicker because it means that you can slow things down a wee bit, get a wee bit of a rest.
I mean, bootlicker's still quite. It's not hard, but the double kicks, it's still like takes a lot of effort. If I'm going to be doing single strokes or double strokes, it just depends on how I'm feeling. But definitely ballistic because it has obviously. There's like that one, the part in it where there's the blasts. I guess you would call it the verse. And I don't know, when I first got sent it, it was different because obviously there's a lot of bands that are just, straight blasts.
Yeah.
And it's the whole time, but you hear the accents on the hi-hat on the first and the third part. And then obviously you have the accents on the cymbals on the ride. And I don't know. It's very satisfying to play. And the same with Jaws, because I don't know, that song's probably, I would imagine, the fastest that we have in the set. And it's just such a great opener. I guess I just like playing fast stuff.
Something tells me I know how the album is going to sound. It's going to be like 30 minutes of blast beats.
I'm okay with that.
I think you're probably about right. It'll be about 30 minutes of blast beats and like a big doom song or one mid-pace song. That'll probably be right.
I see Daniel put his head in his hands here, saying, "What the fuck are we doing?" But Daniel, what about yourself? What's the song that you're looking forward to playing in the set then?
I like to put Predator's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that one.
So what's the reason for Predator? Is that where like Joe does most of the work and you can just sit back and relax?
Yeah, pretty much. But I like that song. I just like the like kind of like looks in. It's like it's quite satisfying to play.
Yeah.
It's got like a nice kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
I just like playing it.
Absolutely. And just the last question, listen, I thank you very much for your time. I know this was a wee bit later, but I'll get this interview out for the weekend, hopefully, if not before. But this is where I normally ask about the instruments that you played to record the EP. I know, Luke, you're in after the EP, but you can let me know your drum set. So, Joe, what's your... is it still 1-0?
Just went 2-0 and they've got two guys sent off.
What? Anarchy in Holland.
It seems like it.
Aye.
No, he's onside.
So, Joe, what's your guitar setup? What's your amps? What's your pedals and all the rest of it? What's your setup, mate?
I'm really simple. It's like a Boss Katana. It's like a modeling amp. I've got like a bank of like basically 4 sounds that I would use saved. But the good thing about the Katana is it's got like every Boss pedal that's ever made and built. So it's going to do high gain. And it didn't cost the world, so it's perfect for me and what we're doing just now.
Yeah.
The guitar is the same guitar I've had since I was like 18. In ESP, well, it's not really, it's the LTD Eclipse that like I really want to change what I'm playing. I think maybe if I had won the lottery, maybe, but I'm not really interested.
Okay, so you were given like £5,000 to pick a guitar. What would guitar be?
Like the slightly better version in black. Or buy like a fucking James Hetfield Explorer just to like pretend.
Can I say the Snake Bite is one of the worst guitars I've ever played in my life.
I've never played any of them, but they look cool.
It's awful.
We put it on the wall.
Cool. Thanks very much for that, Joe. Thank you. What about yourself, Luke? What's your drum setup? What do you have, mate?
At the moment, I just got a Apex Mars shells, and my bass drum is absolutely stuffed and tuned all the way up, so it's basically not a bass drum, so it doesn't even matter. And then I have the Joey Jordison signature snare, which is nice and pingy, nice and tight, has a nice amount of rebound. And then my cymbals, I'm mainly pasty. And my pedals, I'm just using Pearl. I think they're eliminators. They're very cheap. their longboards to do the trick. And then I've got my foot blasted triggers on there.
What about your drumsticks? Like, what size of drumsticks are you using?
So I'm using Collision 5BRs. So just like normal 5B sticks, but they just have a bit more length, which I prefer that. And they're wooden tips. I've just actually switched back to them. They're really nice. They have a nice amount of attack, very durable. Yeah.
So if you had to like change your snare sound, because obviously I've heard your snare sound and Jesse Creative Extinction, I'm like, that wouldn't suit Penny Coffin at all.
I think it's gonna get pingier, I think, though.
Oh yeah,
it's definitely gonna get pingier.
And the higher they make the tempo, the pingier the snare is gonna get.
And I just say I hate the biscuit tin sound. So that's just a personal opinion. I don't like the biscuit tin snare like slam bands play. But I like the sound that yours made, and it's got like over 6,000 views on Slam Worldwide. Your last single.
Oh yeah, that snare.
Aye.
I actually mixed two different snares. So I had like the biscuit tin snare where you just had the top part pretty much and nothing else. And then I found the ring of a snare I liked, and I took everything away from that, boosted all the hertz on the ring, added distortion, added reverb, and then yeah, that's what you hear on that.
Yeah, you got a lot of compliments on it, so fair play. But yes, keep it out of Penny Coffin. So Daniel. So Daniel, what's your guitar setup, mate? What's your amps, pedals, and everything else, mate?
An ESP LTD M1 Custom 87. That's the guitar.
Okay.
Got a Seymour Duncan distortion pickup, Floyd Rose. Amplifier is a Black Star Stage 100. Tube amp.
Something tells me you're the geek of the band, though, and you've got like 40 pedals.
Yeah, Gary's the geek of the band.
Yeah, he's getting extra out if Gary was here. Like
the bassist, for fucks.
Yeah, he's a guitar player. So yeah, I've got that, and then that was actually on his recommendation to buy that amp. So there you go. And then pedal-wise, just like a tuner, Boss tuner, PC Electronic, Afterglow, Chorus. Got a Sub-Zero analog delay pedal. Always great. PC Electronic Dark Matter, just like a tube screamer, essentially.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Listen, guys, as much as I said at the beginning of the interview, I'm sick of the sight of yous and I'm sick of talking to yous. I actually love talking to yous. So thank you very much for this interview. I cannot wait until I see you in a few weeks' time. I gave Joe your set list time. I hope he's forwarded that on to you. If he hasn't, I hope I've embarrassed him here. But yes, we all love Penny Coffin, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing you guys play. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Spot on, man.
right.
Thank
See
you.
you soon.
Cool.
Thank you.